On behalf of our town hall and myself, I'd like to welcome you to tonight's program. I'm excited about this program because what we're going to be talking about is of vital interest to you. In actuality, when we're looking at the Andrew Carnegie philosophy of life, what we're talking about are specific principles that many millionaires have used to amass their wealth and to live happy and successful life. You know, it's interesting that it's been said that all men are created equal. Well, the unfortunate thing is that when it comes to being an adult, the question is, are we all created equal? Look at your life. Look at your peers. Are we all created equal? Well, what we're going to be talking about tonight are specific areas that you can become more effective in to be able to get what you want out of life. Each of us has a feeling of greatness within inside of ourselves. In many cases, when we're young, we have goals and ambitions that we'd like to achieve in our life. Well, my question is this: what has happened to those goals and ambitions? Are we striving to achieve those, or are they lying dormant now? In looking at different training programs, I can stand up here and give you all the knowledge of what you need to do to be successful and to get what you want out of life. What I'm going to be working on are specific areas of training that when you apply them in your life, you'll actually see the results, because all of these training areas have been proven successful by hundreds and hundreds of millionaires. Let's take a look at some of the aspects that we're going to be talking about. My question is this: what areas are biggest challenge to you in your life today? In many cases, what it comes down to is a big thing called money. Do you have enough money in your life? Are you achieving your goals and objectives in regards to that? In many cases, it's been said that to make more money, you have to do one or two things. You either have to work harder, maybe take a second job, or what else? You have to work faster. You have to do your job faster and make more money that way. Or there's another aspect, and that's to work smarter. So what are the areas that Andrew Carnegie professed that is actually going to help you achieve more in the area of money? Well, one of those areas he goes into is about our thoughts. It's been said we are what we think about all day long, that thoughts are real. Thoughts are incredibly real things. Zoroaster 4,000 years ago said, good thoughts, good words, good deeds. In other words, the thoughts that we think create the words that we speak and create our actions in the world. It's, to give you an example, it's like if you were to take a bowl of water, or a fish bowl, and have it 3/4 filled with water. And if you took a pebble and you dropped it into the water, what would happen? Well, when it hit the water, it would create ripples, wouldn't it? Those ripples come out to the edge and then come right back to the middle. In other words, the thoughts that you put out come right back to you. As you sow, so shall you reap. Now, the interesting thing about that is, can we control our thoughts? Can we? Do you control your thoughts on a day-to-day basis? You might say, well, sure. Well, let me ask you this. If you were to take a second and sit in a comfortable seat and think of nothing, how long could you do that for? Go ahead and try it. What are you thinking about? Well, as we talk and you think, all these thoughts come forward. Well, how do we actually control those thoughts? That'll be one of the subjects that we'll be talking about. The other is desire. It's been said that desire is the starting point of every achievement. Well, if you have a desire, we're talking about a desire, an idea of doing something, of achieving something. Well, how do you put that into workable plans of action to make it work in the real world situation? Okay? In addition to that, we need to talk about organizing. If you're organizing yourself if you're organizing a company, if you're organizing your time, if you're organizing the things that you do in your life, well, what are some of the ideas that we can use to actually be more effective in that? Are we managing our time as effectively as we want to? Or are we wasting our time? Everyone in the world has the same amount of time every day. The question is, what are you doing with that time to achieve your goals and objectives? Talking about goals and objectives, what kind of goals do you have? What kind of goals do you have? What about your financial status? What about your family? What about your spiritual life? What about recreation, your community life? All the things that go into making up your whole life. What are your goals and objectives in each one? What I've found over the years is that in many cases, when someone is just focused on making money, all of the other aspects of their life go by the wayside. I haven't seen anyone anywhere that I know of that at their deathbed they've said, well, I wish I would have spent more time in the office. So how can we get all of our goals aligned so we're living a better life, we're more happy with our life? In addition to that, kind of going back to the thought aspect, what about our brain? You know, Einstein said that he himself used maybe 10% of his brain capacity. Well, if he used only 10%, how much are we using on a day-to-day basis? Are there ways that we can use more of our brain? What about our subconscious? I think all of us have found all of us know of or have found that in many cases when we look at like hypnotists and we go and we see what they can do and tap into the subconscious mind and make people do all kinds of things, where is that coming from? In other words, each of us have that ability within inside ourselves to tap into a power source that in many cases we know nothing about. Well, we'll be working on some techniques to actually work with our subconscious. Another aspect that Andrew Carnegie professed was the sixth sense. We have 5 senses, and normally we touch, feel, smell, everything. What about the sixth sense? In many cases, people say it's your gut feelings. Many women have that intuition. Well, how do we develop that? How do we develop the psychic side of ourselves? Is it there? Well, Andrew Carnegie felt it was. And if you just joined us, again, we're talking about something that's of vital interest to you. We're talking about how you live your life, Andrew Carnegie's philosophy of life, where he worked with over 500 individuals in making them millionaires. The same philosophy is something that you can use today to get what you want out of life. To recap what we talking about in making money or achieving any success in life, there's a number of aspects that you need to look at. Again, these 13 aspects are Andrew Carnegie's philosophy of life. He talks about the main aspect as far as in your thoughts. Your thoughts are things, incredibly real things. And the things that you think about all day long is what makes up your life. Zoroaster 4,000 years ago said, good thoughts, good words, good deeds. In other words, the thoughts that you think create the words that you speak and create your actions out in the real world situation. We also talked about desire, the different desires, the goals and ambitions that you have, that feeling of greatness that you have inside of yourself. Is that dormant right now? Are you achieving everything you want in your life? If not, then stay tuned and stay with us throughout this program, throughout this series, because we'll be talking about things that you can use to gain what you want in life. One of the aspects, once you have desires and you know what you want to do, well, you have to create a plan of how to get there. So planning is a big step. We'll go through specific areas of planning that will help you create your thoughts in a